It was the most enjoyable film I'd ever made that began with a challenge to America's Harvard University to come to witness an astonishing teaching experiment in Australia. A radical idea to save Sydney's violent and non-performing Tempe High School that changed the lives of its students and staff and went around the world.
I got him, I go to Tempe, go to Tempe, and he goes to me, oh, isn't that the school where they send rejects from other countries? And I go to him, can you just tell me what you mean?
Harvard's education chief, Professor Courtney Casden, came to Tempe High to find Principal Peter James. Peter James took the crazy step of cutting the students' English lessons to teach them their own foreign languages. And their English results shot up. What's become of the children of Tempe 25 years on? And what were the consequences of cutting language teaching in Australia? This is the subject of TRAC Productions' new film, Return to Babel, now in development. Here's a bit of the award-winning film, The School of Babel, that started it all.
Disadvantaged Schools Programme, DSP, is developing a radical English teaching programme. School Principal Peter James has added his own innovation that makes Tempe unlike any other school in Australia.
And have you been around this part of Sydney before? It's
not
normally a tourist area.
No, so I'm delighted to get out of the tourist area.
Yeah.
What should I know that's special about the school?
There's about 17% of the children are from an English-speaking background, and that in itself is unusual. 17.
17.
And that's from mixed areas.
1783. Yeah.
There's roughly 17. It's about 0.1% less actually that are from Macedonian background, and then there's about 16% Greek, 13.5–14% Arabic speaking, 12% Vietnamese, and then we drop down to a whole range of 6% of Chinese, Portuguese, Pacific Islanders.
Between Veal and James, Tempe students are achieving the most unexpected results.
Characters, good. Incidents, good. All right.
When I looked at what was happening in English, where we weren't performing very well 7 years ago, I reduced the amount of English taught in English classes, cut approximately 16% off.
16% less time in English.
And that time redistributed to other places where English is used, but not in the English classroom. And part of that went into the community languages, which we built up from Greek only to the 8 languages that we're, or the 5 community languages we're running now. And we believe, and the evidence we've got, is that there has been a steady improvement in English over the last 4 or 5 years. Last year, but for 13 or 14 children out of 130, we would have been at the state average in all of our English results in the high school certificate. We're quite thrilled with the progress.
That's really remarkable.
Listen and look here.
Sông Mã và sông Cả. Như vậy thì sông Mã thì nó
Heading. الرياضة المدرسية sport at school.
Γυρίζει απότομα προς αυτήν.
Υπερβολικός λέει, $300, άγνωστος αποστελέας και υπερβολικός λέει.
Okay, Mina, could you please read the top of page 29, the brackets?
Χτυπάει η πόρτα. Ο μάθος κάθεται. Η φύσα πανικοβάλλεται. Με εκείνη...
Buongiorno, Monsieur Dan. Wie desiree?
Oui, monsieur.
Alors, c'est ça. C'est tout. Merci.
You get better English if you keep on talking your language. It does. It helps you.
So we're looking at a very important scene in Lord of the Flies. This is the scene where Piggy's killed.
And my question again is, what is the dramatic importance of Bianca's entry?
Where Iago plotted to get the handkerchief and give it to Cassio and hope he was seen with it.
What is the emotion or the state of the people, the way the people are feeling at that point?
So, could Bianca sort of like jeopardise Iago's plans? Because they told Othello that Cassio is having an affair with Desdemona. Now Bianca turns up, and if Othello finds out that them two...
Now, on any common sense understanding of education, it would seem crazy to reduce the time of the English curriculum in a school that's 83%, I think he said, non-English speaking students. And yet, the factual result, evidently, is improved English achievement, as well as what the students are getting in a way of more advanced intellectual development of their home languages. But as I say, it's still a controversial question.
It's not unusual to teach a community language or to teach a foreign language in an Australian school, but to see it as a resource for learning English is unusual, and it's a brave step. I don't know of any other school in Sydney.
And we got a maths teacher who could teach Japanese. I don't need a full economics and business studies and legal studies teacher, but geez, I'd love someone in that area who could teach Chinese. Bang your head at the wall long enough, we've got it.
He took a risk. He sure did take a risk. And what in his background as an ex-chemistry teacher, I mean, he wasn't a Greek teacher or an Italian teacher. He's a chemistry teacher. But you know, what made him think that in this school at this time that was a risk that was likely to pay off?
So no excuses, we're going to take you on, we're going to take your system on, and we are going to do it. And we're starting to see some really good results coming out of our kids. We're starting to see a Tempe student who gets a commendation in the Sydney Morning Herald short story competition.
Out of its setbacks, Tempe has touched on what a truly multicultural country could be.
So at this point in the story, what has happened on this island?
Everything's marking out.
There's no more law?
There's no more law and order. There's no more civilization.
What did the ancients do to have the power of communication taken away?
To cut back now, when we're on the brink of success and change, wholesale change, large-scale change in the way that we think about language education would be disastrous. The effects for Australia, I think, in the long term would be devastating.
Oh, I think it'd be devastating in this school. We really do need that little bit extra. It's not much that you get. I think at the moment we've got 3 ESL teachers in the school, funded by the Commonwealth. We really desperately need those people.
That's a great pity, because it's been a lot of years, a lot of trial and error, a lot of different approaches and different people working on it, and you're starting to see here some success, and it'd be a pity to lose that.
In New South Wales, the state government is cutting education spending. Continued access for disadvantaged schools to their own language program is in question.
It could mean that there'd be less consultants employed full-time. We're led to believe that staffing will be tight.
Excuse me, can you watch the language, gentlemen? Thank you.
If you're not in the top 70 in the fall, Start and think realistically about what you will do, because the chance of you being offered a position at a university is pretty slim. Let me put it another way. If you're not around the middle of English, if you don't expect to get a 3 in English and at least a 3 in intermediate maths, you probably won't get offered a university place. Facts of life. Languages are one of the best TER subjects possible.